Hey, 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 what's going on, guys? Welcome to the GM. I know this is an unplanned live, so I just wanted to get in here, man, and talk a little bit about Baltimore Ravens news, what's happening, what we're hearing, man, and the excitement around the Baltimore Ravens. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can bring this mic a little closer. Here we go. Now, this may sound a little bit better. And so, in all honesty, man, I didn't even check my sound. I didn't check if I had the right mic attached. I just hit live. So please forgive me if the sound is not adequate. Matter of fact, let me do some housekeeping really quickly and check on that sound. Give me one sec, man, and we'll get this thing underway. I don't even have the chat open, to be honest. So we just gonna make it do what it does, right? Uh, super excited, man, about the things that I'm hearing out of training camp, not training camp, but OTAs. And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, so let's get into it, man. So the Baltimore Ravens wrapped up their final day of OTAs this week as all of the effort that the players had been showing, all of the intention, all of the um, energy that they had been producing. John Harbaugh awarded them with the day off today. They will meet for team meetings, maybe some film study, stuff like that. But other than that, they will not be on the field, man. So, congratulations, man, to those guys who have been putting forth that effort, man. And it really seems like a collectiveness to the Baltimore Ravens this off season. Not that the Baltimore Ravens hadn't been a collective unit before, but I think that what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that the Baltimore Ravens can sense it. They can feel a level of urgency. They can kind of grasp the moment, right? Because this is the last iteration of this team, right? It's kind of as if everything before 2018 will come to a close as far as the roster construction at the end of this season. And then even from that 2018 draft, there may only be Lamar Jackson left because, the other guy that's left from that draft is Mark Andrews. And even from the 2019 draft, right? There's not many guys left from there. And even from the 2020 draft, there's not many guys left from that draft also. So this is kind of a last call, so to speak. Let's get it in while we still can, while we're still a collective unit. And so, man, I hope that they can ride this level of excitement and energy and momentum into the season and be able to capture the chip, especially for guys like Marlon Humphrey, Mark Andrews, Ronnie Stanley, those guys you consider um, the seniors of this group, right? But nevertheless, man, let's talk a little bit about what we're hearing out of OTAs, man. So there's a couple of guys that continue to stand out. There's several guys in the wide receiver room. I won't go deep into the wide receiver room or the wide receiver corpse, but I will talk about some of those guys who have a great chance to be on this roster, the 53 man, and those guys who will absolutely probably earn themselves a practice squad spot as a wide receiver. Been hearing some really solid things about LeJohntay Wester, right? His ability to get open, his speed, his shiftiness. Been hearing a lot of good buzz about LeJohntay Wester. So it really sounds like he is not climbing the wide receiver charts, so to speak, but he is solidifying his spot or the potential for a spot with performances when the eyes are on him and when his opportunity comes knocking. Another guy that I read about on yesterday was Dayton Wade. He's a guy we're familiar with and we kind of fell in love with in Baltimore Ravens Nation when he had the shakedown of his defender in the preseason. And I can't remember who tossed him the ball, but he went for that long touchdown. I think we all fell in love with Dayton Wade on that particular play. And as of yesterday, it's kind of the first time I've heard about him this offseason. But yesterday had a really good day. He continued to get open, continued to make catches. And so Dayton Wade is raising his hand and saying, hey, don't forget about me. I'm still here. I don't know if he can sneak on to the 53-man roster. I think that's going to depend upon if there's any injuries that happen ahead of him. But I definitely think he's solidifying himself as a repeat practice squad guy. So shout out to Dayton Wade. When you consider more guys along the offense, Keaton Mitchell got a lot of run over the last couple of days in practice. Because Derrick Henry and Justice Hill, I think that sometimes they're present, but they're not actually engaging in the activity. And so Keaton Mitchell has consistently showed his speed, his burst. He's shown some hands. And so I think what Keaton Mitchell is saying, yeah, hey, don't forget about me. I'm ready. I'm healthy. And I think that this is an off season where he's putting it all together. Last year, of course, he was injured. And then when he finally came back, he wasn't ready to go fully. And I think now his full talent is going to be on display. I think he'll be a great addition on a regular basis to this Baltimore Ravens offense. Shout out, man, to anybody who's commenting in the chat section. Please hit subscribe. Please hit like. I appreciate it. More from the offensive side of the ball. Charlie Kolar got most of the reps as Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews were not on-field participants. And he too showed his ability to get open, catch the ball, make plays, so on and so forth. And we all know what Charlie Kolar can do, although it's been sprinkled in just a little bit over the course of the last couple of seasons. We all have seen his potential. We see the 6'6", we see the wingspan, we see his ability to block, we see his athleticism. And when called upon, he has made some plays. And so I think that he will be a piece that we see sprinkled in on more than just the tight end sneak, so to speak. I think we're going to see a little bit more of Charlie Kolar because he too is auditioning for a new contract, whether with the Ravens or absent from the Ravens. I would like to see the Ravens kind of sign him to a low-end deal. 3 years, 12 million, 3 years, 10 million, something in that range. I think that it will be good to keep Charlie Kolar to be the second guy behind Isaiah Likely. There are some guys, man, that we have not heard about that need to be making some noise this offseason who could be in line to fill in some of those tight end vacancies, but we just haven't heard of those guys just yet. So maybe in mandatory mini camp or maybe in training camp when vets get days off, those guys have an opportunity to showcase themselves. Not a lot about the offensive line at this point because you can't really show a whole lot in OTAs as it pertains to the offensive line. No different than, defensive linemen. You cannot really showcase a lot as a defensive lineman because you're just in shorts and T-shirts. But let's jump to the defense side of the ball. Not Todd Monken. What's the DC name? Zach or Chuck Smith. Chuck Smith is not the DC, but he is the pass rushing coach specialist. And he believes that Travis Jones is one of the linchpins, one of the keys to this Baltimore Ravens defense this oncoming season. And I believe he's right. And man, we have a lot of dudes, man, big time talents who are in contract years. Travis Jones is that. I do expect some sort of a breakout season for Travis Jones. I'm not going to say he's going to have 10 sacks and all those kind of things, but I do think he's an integral part of this defense, especially with Michael Pierce leaving. And I do think that he will have a great year. And I expect his pass rush ability to be on full display this season. But yeah, Chuck Smith does, based on his statements, does believe that Travis Jones is going to take it up a notch in the 2025 season. A lot of buzz, a lot of excitement around Mike Green. A couple of days ago in practice, he made an interception, which kind of speaks to all of his talent. Now, here's the truth. Let me just be honest. I don't really like hearing that Mike Green made an interception because Mike Green's best attributes, right, his best use case is moving towards the quarterback. But nevertheless, man, that speaks to his athleticism, that speaks to his ability. And I guess if called upon, he could drop into some type of coverage, whether it's into the flat or, just an underneath dropping into zone. Nevertheless, man, glad to hear that Mike Green is putting on a nice performance. I knew that he would. We all knew that he would. So it's super, super exciting, man, to hear that be noticed and discussed. More from the defense side of the ball. Malachi Starks continues to put on a good showing. The first round rookie is still showing not really playmaking ability, but coverage ability. Has the ability to cover a lot of ground in a short period of time. Great in coverage. And so, man, that's super, super exciting to hear. More from the defense side of the ball. Rookie Teddy Buchanan. Finally, we hear a report about him and how he's doing well, playing good in coverage, things of that nature. So shout out to Teddy Buchanan, man, for shining when the light is on him. Still haven't heard much about Trenton Simpson, and so I think that this is going to be a battle all the way to the time for the season to start between Teddy Buchanan and Trenton Simpson, unless the Baltimore Ravens decide to bring in another linebacker, more of a veteran presence to play along beside Roquan. Give the young guys more time to develop. Heard a little bit about Hummel, I think that's his name, the linebacker they brought in a free agency. Just some good practice effort, things of that nature. So shout out, man, for getting noticed for your effort. Let me see what else is happening along the defensive side of the ball. Let me think. A couple of UDFAs showing out in practice, and I'm going to kind of take a step back and kind of dig into those guys and maybe do some specific commentary on the UDFAs. Man, I don't remember the names. One is the cornerback who continues to show up and play well. He's going to be pushing somebody on this roster. I know, again, it's just shorts and t-shirts. You can do a lot, but shout out to the UDFAs, man, for getting noticed. Injuries, many injuries piling up a little bit. Of course, we know Darius Washington's at the safety position. Then Beau Brade went down this week at the safety position, of course. Awuzie got injured this week. It doesn't seem to be major, but I don't think he'll be ready to go when it comes to mandatory minicamp. I think he'll be present, of course, but I do not think he'll practice. Just trying to save him until training camp. Any other injuries? Of course, we know Emory Jones. He's been out for a while. I think he may be a injured reserve candidate. I'm not sure if he's going to make it back or know enough when he makes it back to be a contributor early on in the season. So he may be kind of an early IR candidate. Let's see what else happening as it pertains to OTAs. I think that's it. Read an article from not from John Harbaugh, but about John Harbaugh, where he's talking about being open to signing a veteran cornerback. And we all know how the Ravens get down. So we know that that could always be an option, especially with some of the injuries that have taken place over the last couple of weeks. And the interesting thing, man, a lot of those injuries have happened on the back end or in the back end, the secondary of the defense. Washington, Beau Brade, and then Awuzie. So it may be a level of urgency, as much as you can be urgent in the off season, to maybe scour the open market to see who's available. And you guys all know who Ravens Nation is clamoring for, and that's Jaire Alexander. I do believe, man, we do have a good shot to sign Alexander. One, I don't know why we wouldn't. Number two, I can't speak to why he would not want to play for a contender. I don't know why he wouldn't want to join a team that has a solid culture and the energy is high this offseason. And so, man, I hope we do make a serious run at Alexander. I don't think Alexander has to be any mm, kind of hurry. That's, I guess, that's the word I'll use. I don't see why he would be in any kind of hurry to sign with the team. Mandatory minicamp is coming up, and I don't know at this point in his career if that's going to be beneficial to join a team before then and then have to, gear up and learn on the fly, so to speak. And so you may see him sign with someone after mandatory minicamp, which starts for the Ravens next Tuesday, I believe, if I got that date correct. Nevertheless, man, I do hope that they go after Jair Alexander. I know we got some contract extensions that we need to handle, but nevertheless, that can be handled because whether we sign Alexander or not, it's not going to be on a 4-year deal. It's going to be something like 1 to 2 years. And so that may not be such a compromise to get those other deals done. Um, let's see what else. Let me get into some news headlines. Let me see what I can see that I want to mention to you guys. Give my commentary, hear from you guys about. Let's see here. Not a lot of news. Just the things that I already mentioned. The most exciting thing about happening right now is the OTAs, and I guess we'll close up right here. Read an article this morning, in fact, where pundits believe that Kyle Hamilton, yes, the Ravens' Kyle Hamilton, could be a Dopey Award winner, Defensive Player of the Year winner. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that Kyle Hamilton could be that? Do you think he's gonna get enough shine? Do you think he'll make enough plays? Do you think his impact will be felt enough? Now, when I ask those questions, it kind of sounds a little ignorant, but let me explain why I ask it that way. You see, Kyle Hamilton switched roles a little last year, right? He moved from his traditional um, being down in the box, a little bit of a blitz, covering in the flat, moving all around the defense to more of a strong safety-ish type role, which did not lessen his impact, but I think it lessened his playmaking. I think in order for Kyle Hamilton to be the defensive player of the year, I think that he's going to have some game changing plays, maybe some interceptions, maybe some forced fumbles, maybe something like pick six, maybe something like fumble recovery, return for a touchdown, things of that nature. It's going to have to be something that kind of stands out that says, man, this dude is that guy. We understand in Baltimore Ravens nation that Kyle Hamilton is that guy, right? We understand that. And we also understand that he's a great player. We understand that he's a multi-time Pro Bowler and all of those things. So it's easy for us to say uh, that he should be a candidate, but nevertheless, uh, that doesn't mean that we're going to absolutely see that. And sometimes strange things happen, kind of like Patrick Surtain is the defensive player of the year from last year, if I'm remembering correctly, but he's ranked lower on the cornerback list than Sauce Gardner, right? Gardner was ranked one, Surtain was ranked number two. Now, how can I be the defensive player of the year at the same position that somebody who's ranked above me? Doesn't make a lot of sense. So, we've seen crazy things happen, but nevertheless, man, I believe he could be the defensive player of the year. But I think that we're going to have to shore up that safety room, especially as some injuries have been happening, right? Shout out to Sanusi Kane, who's been showing up and taking advantage of his opportunity. I just never remember I read about him this week as well, getting an interception, things of that nature. He's having to get a little more run with Bo Braid being down and also Darius Washington being gone. So shout out to Sanusi Kane, man, for taking advantage of his opportunities. Man, so that's what I got for you guys today, man. I told you it wouldn't be long. I appreciate you guys. If you hear this long, man, hit like, subscribe, and always remember, our lives will always be cut down for a shorter version, man. So I appreciate you guys. I'm Yigal Boulanger. This is the GM. And until next time, I'm out.